They were the storm, unseen, unstoppable, riding out of the eastern steppes with the fury of gods themselves. The world had never seen anything like the Huns, fierce horsemen, nomads without borders, warriors without mercy. They didn't come to negotiate, they came to conquer. The Roman Empire, already on its knees, would soon face a terror like no other. This was not just another enemy. These were not the Goths, nor the Vandals, Germanic tribes we discovered in our last video. The Huns were different. They would tear through empires, and their most known leader, Attila, would become a name that whispered fear in the hearts of every Roman citizen. But who were these warriors? Where did they come from, and what drove them to cross into the heart of Europe with such devastating force? How did they rise from the unknown steppes to become the terror of an empire that had stood for centuries? The steppes of Central Asia, wild, endless, merciless. This is where the Huns were born, not in the comfort of cities, not in the safety of walls, but in the brutal openness of a land where only the strong survived. For centuries, they were unknown to the world, just another nameless tribe in the sea of nomads. But something changed. The Huns weren't content with survival. They craved power. And when the Huns moved, they moved like a storm. Originating from Central Asia, they began their westward migration around 370 AD, driven by a combination of environmental factors and the search for new territories. Their arrival in Europe marked a significant turning point in the continent's history. As the Huns swept through Europe, they brought with them a unique culture and military prowess that instilled fear in the hearts of many. Their swift cavalry tactics and fierce fighting style allowed them to conquer vast territories, forcing various tribes and nations to either submit or flee. The Huns' impact was not merely one of destruction. They also facilitated the movement of other groups, such as the Goths, who were pushed into Roman lands as a direct result of Hunnic expansion. This chain reaction of migrations contributed to the so-called migration period, a time of significant upheaval and transformation in Europe. In their early years, the Huns were organized into various tribes, each led by a chieftain or a council of elders. This tribal structure was essential for maintaining order and cooperation among the groups, especially during times of conflict or migration. The Huns relied heavily on kinship ties, which reinforced loyalty and unity within the tribes. Their social organization was fluid, allowing for the merging of tribes and the formation of larger confederations when necessary. This adaptability was a key factor in their ability to mobilize quickly and effectively during their campaigns. The Huns' nomadic lifestyle also influenced their cultural practices. They were skilled horsemen, and their entire way of life revolved around their horses, which were not only vital for transportation, but also for warfare. The Huns developed a unique style of mounted archery, enabling them to shoot arrows with remarkable accuracy while riding at high speeds. This military innovation would later become one of their defining characteristics during their incursions into Europe. Culturally, the Huns were influenced by the various peoples they encountered in their migrations. As they moved westward, they came into contact with different tribes and civilizations, including the Sarmatians and the Scythians. These interactions led to the exchange of ideas, technologies, and customs, enriching Hunnic culture. For instance, they adopted certain elements of warfare and craftsmanship from neighboring groups, which further enhanced their capabilities as a formidable force. Understanding the origins and early history of the Huns provides valuable context for their later expansion into Europe. Their nomadic lifestyle, tribal organization, and cultural influences laid the groundwork for the Huns to become a significant power in the Late Antiquity period. As we delve deeper into their history, we will uncover how these early foundations contributed to their eventual rise and the profound impact they had on the course of European history. The migration of the Huns from their origins in Central Asia into Eastern Europe is a fascinating journey marked by strategic movements and significant consequences. Starting around the late 4th century, the Huns began their westward trek, traversing the vast steppes and crossing the Ural Mountains. Their migration routes took them through regions that are now part of modern-day Kazakhstan, Russia, and Ukraine, ultimately leading them into the heart of Eastern Europe. This movement was not a singular event, but rather a series of waves that unfolded over several decades, driven by a combination of environmental and social factors. One of the primary reasons behind the Huns' migration was climate change. The steppes of Central Asia experienced shifts that made traditional pastoral life increasingly difficult. Droughts and changing weather patterns reduced the availability of grazing land, prompting the Huns to seek more fertile territories. This search for better pastures was compounded by conflicts with other nomadic groups, such as the Alans and the Sarmatians, which further pushed the Huns westward. As they moved into Eastern Europe, they encountered a landscape rich in resources and opportunities, allowing them to establish themselves as a dominant force. The Gothic tribes, pushed to the edge of survival by the Huns' relentless advance, were the first to feel their wrath. These once proud peoples were reduced to refugees, fleeing from the terrifying thunder of hooves and the deadly hail of arrows that fell upon them. The Huns moved like predators, sweeping in at terrifying speed, cutting down their enemies with a cruelty that shocked even the war-hardened Romans. The Gothic king Athanaric, a powerful leader in his own right, could not hold back the tide. His people were driven to the borders of the Roman Empire, desperate for refuge, while the Huns continued to spread their terror like wildfire. The Huns' military prowess and swift cavalry tactics instilled fear among their adversaries, leading to a series of conflicts that weakened the Roman Empire's borders. The Huns' incursions into Roman territory, particularly during the reign of Attila, resulted in significant territorial losses for the empire and strained its resources. Moreover, the Huns' expansion triggered a domino effect among neighboring tribes, leading to their own migrations into Roman lands. This movement of peoples contributed to the broader migration period, a time characterized by significant upheaval and transformation across Europe. The Huns not only altered the geopolitical landscape, but also influenced the cultural exchanges that occurred as different tribes interacted in the wake of their expansion. The Huns didn't fight like the armies of Rome, the disciplined legions that marched in perfect unison. No, the Huns were like a swarm, chaotic, unpredictable, and deadly. Their primary weapon was speed. Their mounted archers could strike from the distance, unleashing waves of arrows before disappearing into the wilderness, only to strike again when their enemies were most vulnerable. This was the art of Hun warfare, and it left entire armies shattered in its wake. No fortress seemed impregnable to them. No army was too strong. The Huns crushed everything in their path, carving a bloody trail westward, and their ambitions grew as they tasted victory after victory. In summary, the Huns' migration from Asia into Eastern Europe was driven by a combination of environmental challenges and conflicts with other groups. Their expansion had a lasting impact on the Roman Empire and neighboring tribes, reshaping the course of European history. As we continue to explore the Huns' legacy, it becomes clear that their movements were not just about conquest, but also about the complex interplay of cultures and societies during a transformative era. When discussing the Huns, one name stands out above all others: Attila the Hun. Reigning from 434 to 453 AD, Attila is often regarded as the most famous and feared leader of the Huns. His reputation as a ruthless warrior and cunning strategist has left an indelible mark on history, shaping the perception of the Huns as a formidable force that challenged the might of the Roman Empire. After that, on the 20th of June, 451 AD, the world watched as the greatest powers of the age clashed on the Catalunian plains. On one side stood the Huns, led by Attila, their armies sweeping across Europe like a tidal wave of destruction. On the other, a fragile alliance of Roman legions under the command of Flavius Aetius and Visigothic, Franks, Burgundian warriors under their kings, brought together by the looming threat of annihilation. The battle that followed would go down in history as one of the bloodiest and most decisive confrontations of the ancient world. As the sun set over the blood-soaked plains, it became clear that Attila had met his match. Though neither side emerged as a clear victor, the Huns had been stopped. Attila's armies, battered and bruised, retreated from the battlefield. It was a blow to his ambition, a reminder that even the mightiest can fall. The Battle of the Catalunian Plains had not only saved Western Europe from immediate destruction, it had shown that Attila, the Scourge of God, was not invincible. Attila died shortly after that in 453, and his legacy is complex and multifaceted. To many in the Roman world, he was seen as the Scourge of God, a title that reflected both fear and reverence. His campaigns left a lasting impression on the collective memory of Europe, shaping the narrative of the Huns as barbaric invaders. However, this perception often oversimplifies the Huns' cultural and political significance. Attila's leadership not only exemplified the military prowess of the Huns, but also facilitated interactions between different cultures, leading to exchanges that would influence the development of medieval Europe. In conclusion, Attila the Hun stands as a towering figure in the history of the Huns, embodying their military strength and strategic brilliance. His campaigns against the Roman Empire reshaped the geopolitical landscape of the time, while his legacy continues to evoke fascination and fear. Understanding Attila's role provides valuable insights into the complexities of Hunnic society and the broader historical context of the Late Antiquity period. As we explore the Huns further, it becomes clear that their story is not just one of conquest, but also of cultural exchange and transformation. As we conclude our exploration of the Huns, we encourage you to reflect on their lasting impact on European history. Their story is a reminder of the complexities of cultural interactions and the ever-changing nature of power dynamics. If you found this video informative and engaging, please consider subscribing to our channel for more historical content. Don't forget to like and share this video with fellow history enthusiasts who might appreciate the rich tapestry of stories that shape our understanding of the past. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history, and we look forward to exploring more intriguing topics with you in the future.